I can only reverse time for emergencies. Superman!
Hello everybody, welcome back to TDS Studios. I'm TDS, and I've been talking a lot about Spider-Man lately, so let's take a break from him to talk about another superpowered journalist. I am of course talking about Superman. I recently watched the new Superman movie with some of my friends and we absolutely loved it. And one thing that stuck out to me with this movie is the new Superman costume, which led to a little mini debate between me and my friends, and that is to ask the question, should Superman wear trunks? This has been a highly debated topic for Superman designs for quite a while now, and I think it depends on a couple of factors. With the first one being, are the trunks outdated? Superman was created in 1938, and his costume is the pinnacle of classic superheroes, including the trunks. A lot of superheroes wore trunks like this around the time. It's a staple of not only Superman, but superheroes in general, and it went pretty much untouched for a really long time, until around the 2010s when DC launched the New 52, which was a relaunch of the DC comic universe, and with that a lot of the characters got new, modernized redesigns. And a big part of Superman and Batman's designs was getting rid of the trunks. The removal of Superman's trunks is kinda like Spider-Man's sleeves and belt, which I talk about in this video. Both design changes meant to modernize a classic comic book character, and removing these traits would become very inspirational for future redesigns moving forward. But the classic designs were never forgotten. Superman can still be seen wearing his trunks from time to time, but it was mostly in the animated stuff. It's interesting how, in live action, I feel like the trunks didn't really appear as much, and I think a big reason why is because of how they were probably seen as outdated and a little too silly. I could understand why they can be seen like that, but in my opinion, I think the trunks are very charming and just really iconic for Superman. I think a lot of the trunkless designs can look good. In fact, I'm a big fan of some of them. But I still prefer the trunks because they break up the blue parts of the suit pretty well, and they fit Superman as a character, and his more lighthearted tone, which leads into my second reason on why these were probably removed, and that is the big increase of darker Superman stories. There's been a lot of dark or evil Superman stories in the past couple years, like the Zack Snyder movies, the Injustice games, and other Elseworld stories involving the idea of an evil Superman. And especially with more live-action versions of the character, like the movies and Arrowverse shows like Superman, Lois, and Supergirl, this would cause them to steer away from the trunks so they could be taken a little bit more seriously. I am all for darker Superman stories, but it felt like for the past decade, we had gotten so obsessed with darker, evil versions of Superman that we kind of forgotten that Superman wasn't always evil. Like, a lot of people have complained about the new Superman movie being too lighthearted and not having Superman be super violent. And I think it kind of shows how for the past decade, it felt like we kind of lost the point of what Superman was, because we were so obsessed with trying to make him darker and closer to Batman, we forgot that the whole point of Superman was that he was the opposite to him. If I personally had to pick between the two, I would say I would rather have Batman not wear trunks than Superman, since Batman is often seen as the more serious of the two, and Superman being the more lighthearted hero. Batman's design is supposed to be intimidating the criminals, but Superman isn't supposed to look intimidating, despite how powerful he is. A big part of Superman is how he has to kind of hold back how much power he uses, because he cares about human lives. And the trunks show that he doesn't take himself too seriously. I think this interview with David Cornsweet, the new Superman, describes the importance of the trunks very nicely.
You wanted trunks in theory. You liked the idea of trunks.
Theoretically, I liked the idea of trunks because it's, Superman I grew up with.
But the problem is they look kind of silly. You were looking for a way to make them look cool, or you were looking for a function, an explanation for having them.
A reason why they would be there, yeah.
And my thing was just maybe they're supposed to look a little silly. Maybe the reason he wears them is to look a little silly, basically to undermine how powerful he really is.
In this version of the DCEU, everyone knows he's an alien. He shoots beams out of his eyes. He can blow things down with his breath. He's sort of this terrifying creature, but he really likes kids and human beings and people, and he wants kids not to be afraid of him. And so that was the thing that made me decide to keep the trunks.
Looking back, I remember thinking how the trunks look really silly and kind of dumb. But after watching the new Superman and seeing the history behind the trunks, I've gained a greater appreciation for them, and a better understanding of Superman. And now I like the trunks even more because of it. Maybe his trunks are the real punk rock after all. It officially marks the return of Superman as a symbol of hope. And I could not be happier. Thank you for allowing me the honor of wasting your time with another one of my ramblings. And if you want to hear more of my ramblings, by all means feel free to like and subscribe for more videos from me. And if you didn't like it, okay. Make sure to follow my socials to stay up to date with updates on future videos and to see some more of my art like this. I actually drew the thumbnail for this video. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. This has been 2DS Studios, and until next time, stay tuned and stay cool.